Welcome to the deep dive. So, if you're in Florida, you're probably already gearing up for another hurricane season. You know how it goes. Watching the weather, that feeling of uncertainty, we've all seen what storms like Helene or Ian and Idalia can do. Today, we're going to focus on something really, really vital for your plan. It's about your propane supplier and making that choice before a storm is even a blip on the radar.
Exactly. It sounds straightforward, maybe, but it's fundamentally about safety and peace of mind, really.
Right. Our mission here is to unpack why choosing the right supplier ahead of time is so crucial. We've been looking into this using info from Propane Ninja about their hurricane prep, their increased capacity, internal procedures, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and it's fascinating to see how a proactive company thinks beyond just, dropping off fuel. It's a whole system.
Okay, let's get into it. What do you need to do before a hurricane is even a possibility? First thing that jumped out at me, securing the propane tanks. Seems basic, maybe not.
Oh, it's far from basic. It's critical. In high winds, an unsecured tank is essentially a missile. We saw this clearly with Hurricane Ian. Reports of tanks getting picked up, thrown around. Huge safety risk.
Wow, so proper anchoring isn't just protecting your own stuff.
No, it's about community safety. It prevents a dangerous situation for everyone. So that physical prep, absolutely key.
And it's not just the tank sitting tight, is it? The whole system needs to be sound.
That's the next piece. The pre-storm inspection.
Makes sense, like a checkup.
Exactly. For the whole setup, regulators, connections, the tank itself, a pro can spot weaknesses you'd never see.
Things that could fail under stress.
Right. And finding that before hurricane season can save you from, well, potentially catastrophic failures during extreme weather, it's preventative.
You definitely don't want a failure when you need that propane most. Which brings us to actually having the propane, filling tanks early.
Yes. It sounds obvious, but it's easy to put off, isn't it?
Totally. Oh, I'll get to it next week.
And then a storm pops up on the forecast, and suddenly everyone's rushing. Long lines, potential shortages. It's chaos.
So the advice is, top off well in advance. Don't wait.
Get ahead of the rush. Ensure you have enough fuel to, ride out any disruptions.
Yeah.
Power outages, delivery delays.
Right. Having fuel is one thing, but knowing your system,
Yeah.
that point about the shutoff valve, that really hit home.
So important. It sounds simple, but in a panic.
Yeah, fumbling around trying to figure it out is the last thing you need.
Being able to quickly, safely shut off the propane in an emergency can prevent a leak, maybe even a fire. It's critical knowledge.
Should everyone in the house know how?
Ideally, yes. Maybe even do a quick walkthrough, point it out. Takes 5 minutes.
Good idea. And alongside knowing the system, having the supplier's contact info handy?
Absolutely critical. Put it in your phone, stick it on the fridge, whatever works. In an emergency, you don't want to be searching for a number.
Okay, let's shift to generators. Big one for Florida homeowners. And propane often fuels them.
It does. Propane generators are lifesavers during outages. But, and this is a big but.
Let me guess. Make sure it actually works before you need it.
Bingo. Test it. Service it. Make sure it's fully operational before storm season. Remember Hurricane Helene? Power was out for days, weeks in some places. A working generator fueled by propane was gold.
So that backup power source needs proactive attention too. It's all part of the plan.
It really is. The pre-storm phase is all about being proactive. Secure, inspect, fill, know your system, prep your generator.
Okay, so you've done all that. Now the storm is actually here. What's the thinking then?
All right, during the storm, the focus shifts. It's about safety and smart usage. Use that propane sparingly. Prioritize what's essential, refrigerator, maybe some lights, critical medical equipment.
Don't run the pool heater, basically.
Exactly. Conserve that fuel. You might need it to last several days, maybe longer.
And this is where technology comes in. Propane Ninja mentioned their IoT monitoring. What is that?
Right, this is pretty interesting. IoT means Internet of Things.
Mm.
Basically, they put a sensor on your tank that's connected, usually via cellular networks,
Okay.
and it constantly tracks your fuel level in real time.
So no more guessing how much is left.
Exactly. It takes the guesswork out, even when you can't safely go outside to check the gauge. You and Propane Ninja can see the level remotely.
That sounds like more than just convenience.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It's a safety feature, too.
Yeah.
The system can actually alert you and them if there's a sudden drop in pressure,
Which might mean?
a leak, or damage. It's an early warning system. These monitors, by the way, are often from companies like Autodata. They're specialists in this tech.
Wow. Okay. Like a 247 digital watchman on your tank. That's reassuring.
It really is. It adds a significant layer of security during a very stressful time.
Beyond managing the propane itself, what else during the storm?
Stay informed. Monitor local authorities, weather updates, emergency broadcasts,
Uh-huh.
especially about flooding.
Yeah, flood risk is a huge factor, particularly in places like Tampa Bay.
Absolutely. And have that evacuation plan ready to go, especially if you are in a flood-prone zone. Know your routes, have your go bag.
Makes sense. Okay, the storm passes. Things are a mess. What's the role of the propane supplier in the recovery phase?
They remain crucial. Recovery is about safety and getting back to normal, and propane often plays a role there too. First up, quick post-storm repairs. A good supplier prioritizes this.
So if your system might be damaged.
You need someone out there fast. Propane Ninja emphasizes having local contacts ready, trained teams who know how to do post-storm assessments. They look for hidden damage from wind, flooding, debris, things you might miss.
Because that hidden damage could be dangerous footer on.
Exactly. A shifted tank, a cracked line, very risky.
And then there's needing fuel after the storm.
Right. Emergency refills, power might still be out, you're relying on that generator. A reliable supplier plans for this. They'll have trucks strategically placed to get fuel delivered, even into hard-hit areas. It's about logistical readiness.
It sounds like a lot goes into that post-storm response.
A huge amount. And again, safety inspections after the storm are vital before you start using the system heavily again. Make sure everything is sound. Leaks after a hurricane are real danger.
And Propane Ninja mentioned their customers getting priority repairs after Ian.
Yeah, that's what their material suggests.
Yeah.
Getting people back up and running safely and quickly, that demonstrates commitment.
Okay, so we've covered before, during, and after. Let's zero in on Propane Ninja specifically. Based on what we saw, why might someone choose them in Florida?
Several things stand out. First, that emphasis on local responsive service, talking to an expert nearby, not a call center far away.
People probably appreciate that in an emergency.
Definitely. Then there's transparent pricing. No hidden fees popping up when you're vulnerable. That builds trust.
And the IoT monitoring we talked about?
Yes, that real-time data and the leak detection capability, that's a big plus.
And their infrastructure investment seems significant.
Hugely significant. Going from 30,000 gallons of storage to 114,000 gallons, that's massive.
What does that mean practically for customers?
It means they're a major player in emergency fuel supply in Florida. Much better equipped to handle the surge in demand during a hurricane. Less likely to run short.
And the tanks themselves are built tough.
Very tough. They mentioned meeting Miami-Dade standards.
Which are notoriously strict.
Exactly. Rated for 200-mile-per-hour winds, anchored on deep concrete piers. They're designed not to go anywhere. And they pointed to their performance during Hurricane Milton. Apparently, they didn't run out of propane or lose power at their facility. That speaks volumes about their preparedness.
So it's not just talk. They have a track record.
It seems so. Their planning goes deeper, too. They mentioned planning delivery routes before storms hit.
How does that work?
They prioritize. Essential services hospitals, assisted living get top priority. Vulnerable customers, too. Then general top-offs. Plus, their drivers get specific hurricane training. Their systems are all synced up for these situations.
They also mentioned partnerships.
Yeah, disaster recovery partnerships.
Yeah.
Working with local teams, businesses, emergency services to provide broader support to customers. It's about being integrated into the community response.
It really does sound like a whole team effort, from admin to drivers.
That's the impression. That internal coordination is likely key to their external reliability, especially under pressure.
And that huge storage capacity increase, what are the strategic benefits there?
Well, several. Priority readiness for generator fuel demand, obviously. Guaranteeing supply for that critical infrastructure we mentioned, health centers, emergency services. That's huge. It also insulates them and their customers somewhat from supply chain disruptions. When everyone's scrambling for fuel regionally, having a large local reserve is a major advantage.
And it probably helps attract customers who value that reliability.
You'd think so. Confidence is key when you're talking hurricane prep.
We also saw some customer feedback. Chris Nesmith mentioned quick response, professionalism.
Right. And Mary Moran from the Ugly Grouper talked about reliability, consistent supply. Anthony Cucci praised the product and the customer service.
Hearing that from actual users does add weight.
It does. It kind of validates the points about dependability and focus on the customer.
So putting it all together, preparing for hurricane season, it's multifaceted.
Definitely. Lots of moving parts.
And it seems clear that your choice of propane supplier isn't just a small detail. It's actually a critical piece of your overall safety and resilience plan.
I think that's the key takeaway. It's not just about buying fuel. It's about partnering with a company that offers proactive safety, uses technology smartly, and has solid plans for before, during, and crucially after a storm. It's about reducing one major source of worry.
So for listeners in Florida who rely on propane, maybe checking out Propane Ninja and seeing how they support hurricane preparedness seems like a very sensible next step.
A proactive step that could provide real peace of mind when the next storm inevitably forms.
Definitely. And a final thought for you to consider as you make your own plans. What other critical parts of your life infrastructure you depend on, personal resources need the same level of, forward-thinking, robust planning before severe weather hits? Something to think about.